Yes, very good evening, dear students. Good evening to each one of you. Welcome to the 11th revision session. This is the 11th revision session that we are conducting. And today we are going to discuss declaration and payment of dividend. Very simple chapter. Weightage is somewhere around 4 to 5 marks, not more than that. And it's very straightforward. Okay, so I don't think that complicated questions will be asked on this, but very straightforward questions will generally be asked. All sections are important. You cannot leave any particular section. Yeah, section 126 can be avoided. But other than that, I don't think that you can leave any section. So you will have to go through all the sections, and it's a small unit, so it is manageable. Now, what kind of questions are generally asked on this? So they will ask you a case-based question, and theory question can also be asked, but it will be framed like a case-based question only. Hi, Amal. Good evening. How was your day? Good. All right. So are you finding law easy now? Is it simple? Is it easy to remember, to understand? We are not complicating anything because there are so many sections, there are subsections, rules. If I go and give you all these names at the last minute, it will be very difficult for you to remember all that. So we are doing a very clean, straightforward revision wherein we only discuss the provisions, because I know that going through sections and rules and stating all the sections, subsection in the rules and all these things look very nice in the video. But as a student, if I, consider myself in your place, it'll be like, ma'am, it's so difficult to remember all this. It's very easy to listen and understand, but how are we going to remember all this for exam? So I'm not burdening you with all these technical terms and sections and rules and what is written everywhere. We're just doing a very clean and simple revision wherein your concepts should be clear. So even if you don't write a single section in the exam, if your content is proper, then I think you will get very good marks. Okay, chalo. Let us discuss declaration and payment of dividend. It covers section 123 to 127. All are very important for exam. This can be avoided, but if you're studying all the sections, then might as well study section 126 also. Now, how to remember these sections? It is very simple. Always prepare a story or a flow. Like, how will you know whether the declaration of dividend starts from which section number? तो कैसे पता चलेगा, कैसे आप याद रखोगे कि कौन से सेक्शन नंबर से ये स्टार्ट हो रहा है? So I have just I'll just give you one small way of remembering. Like we say 1, 2, 3 surprise. That is how we say, no? So 1, 2, 3 and the company is surprising you with dividend. कि surprise, अरे तुमको dividend दे रहे हैं हम इस साल. And because members only declare the dividend. They can't declare unless and until it is proposed by the board of directors. So what if the board of directors don't propose at all? So we will not be able to declare and get any dividend. So here the directors are proposing and they're surprising you. And interim dividend to ekdam surprise hota hai na. So 1, 2, 3 surprise. So the section starts with 1, 2, 3. So section 123, it discusses the provisions relating to declaration of dividend. Ki kab declare karna chahiye. Once declared, it becomes a liability for the company. Company has to pay it. So 123 relates to provision. It contains provisions relating to declaration of dividend. Then we have section 124. It covers provisions relating to unpaid dividend account. Acha, मैंने dividend declare तो कर दिया. I have declared dividend. But what if we don't pay dividend, or we have paid dividend but people have not claimed dividend? So then that amount will be deposited in the unpaid dividend account. So logically speaking, we have declared dividend, people have not collected, or dividend is only declared but it is not paid. So section 124. Okay, now that we are declaring dividend, it is money, right? So we need to protect the interest of the members. So then there is an Investor Education and Protection Fund, section 125. Okay, we have declared dividend, but it may happen that I have transferred shares, or there is the transfer form has been submitted to the company. Okay, X has transferred shares, but this transfer form is now pending transfer. The company has not yet registered the name of the transferee. So in this duration, what if the company declares dividend? What should we do with that dividend? That is given in section 126. And last provision is always generally related to penalties. So section 127, punishment for failure. Okay, penalty. This is the fine for failure to distribute dividend. So I started with 123. I was surprised that I got dividend. What if the dividend is not paid? It is not collected. Section 124. Section 125 tries to protect the rights and interest of the investor, and we say that don't worry, if you have forgotten to collect dividend, we'll transfer it to the unpaid dividend account. It will remain there for some time, for 7 years, and even if you don't collect, we will still keep it for you only. So we are trying to protect the investor by assuring him that अरे तेरा पैसा तेरे लिए ही पड़ा है उधर देख. 127 talks about the punishment. So this is how you will remember the section numbers. Okay, now let us discuss something about dividend. What is dividend? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is dividend? What is the meaning of dividend? So dividend is nothing but distribution of profits. Yes, dividend is nothing but distribution of the profit among the members. So distribution of profit among members, that is the meaning of dividend. Now, the company has earned profit utilizing the capital, utilizing the money of the shareholders. So we would like to give them something back, and that something is known as dividend. See, it is not compulsory to declare dividend. It depends on the company's dividend policy. It depends upon the profitability of the company. It is left to the discretion of the board. What is their vision? Whether they require money for the expansion of the company or for any other purpose of the company. So there are so many factors which you need to consider before declaring dividend. So dividend is nothing but distribution of the company's profit to the members. It is nothing but a return on capital. Dividend to the equity shareholders depends upon the dividend policy. Not only the dividend policy but also the requirement for cash as determined by the board of directors कि company को कितना cash चाहिए उसके हिसाब से dividend declare होता है. Availability of so we have dividend policy, availability of profit, and we will first pay dividend to the preference shareholders. फिर जो बच जाता है that we will give to the equity shareholders. Okay, the definition of dividend. Now, the Companies Act does not define dividend properly. It only says that dividend includes interim dividend. बस इतना ही लिखा है वहां पर. So it is such an incomplete definition. मुझे dividend का meaning ही नहीं पता. Dividend is a distribution of profit. ये सब कुछ बताया ही नहीं है. It only says that dividend includes interim dividend. It means that all the provisions applicable to final dividend apply to interim dividend also. Now, what is interim? वो यहाँ पर discuss किया है हमने. But before that, few extra provisions. Dividend is it is nothing but a proportion of the nominal value or the face value. So it is not dependent upon your market price. It doesn't depend on at what price you purchase the shares. What is the face value? उसके basis पे dividend declare किया जाता है. अच्छा, dividend may be given on the paid up value if it is authorized by the articles. कि भाई why should we give you dividend on the face value? तुमने जितना pay किया उतने पे dividend देंगे ना. But otherwise, it is always paid on the face value. So it is nothing but distribution of profit. At least इतना तो लिख देते कि उसका मीनिंग क्या है, बट वो सिर्फ इतना ही लिखा है डिविडेंड इंक्लूड्स इंटरिम डिविडेंड. नाउ आईसीएआई ने थोड़ा फिर भी उसको बेटर तरीके से डिफाइन किया है दैट it is nothing but a distribution of profit to the shareholders out of the reserves available for that purpose. लेकिन the ICI definition is not considered. We will only consider the definition given by the Companies Act. Okay, so if I want to classify the dividend on the basis of time, it can be classified as interim dividend or final dividend. Now, what is the meaning of interim? Interim means it is given between two annual general meetings. कुछ फिक्स्ड नहीं है. If the company feels कि अरे I have done very good business, I have earned good profit in this quarter, तो चलो dividend दे देते हैं. So that dividend is known as interim dividend. So interim dividend is not compulsorily, it is not कि आपको देना ही देना है. If the company has earned good profits, they will want to distribute this dividend. And also क्या होता है ना कि if many companies are giving interim dividend, तो हमको लगता है यार चल हम भी दे देते हैं. Okay, let us also give interim dividend so that the shareholder stays invested with the company. क्योंकि it is nothing but something extra, no, and everybody likes कि चलो कुछ तो extra मिल रहा है हमको company से. So interim dividend is dividend which is declared between two annual general meetings. Any dividend which is declared during the year between two annual general meetings is known as interim dividend. It is declared by the board. It is recommended as well as declared by the board of directors. It is not the case with final dividend. Final dividend is recommended by the board, and they recommend this by giving information in the director's report. And after recommendation, it is declared by the shareholders in the annual general meeting. How will they declare it? They will pass an ordinary resolution. Now, this is one of the ordinary businesses. Okay, it is one of the ordinary businesses to declare dividend. Can the shareholders declare dividend in absence of recommendation? Yes, can you tell me? Can we declare dividend if it is not recommended by the board? Can we declare dividend in absence of recommendation? No, that's not possible. You cannot declare dividend if there is no recommendation. Acha, the board has recommended 8% rate of dividend. Can you say, अरे 8% कितना कम है यार, you should give at least 10%. नहीं. You cannot declare more than what is recommended by the board. Can we say, no, we are happy with 6%? Yes. कम चलेगा, ज़्यादा नहीं चलेगा. Okay. So you cannot declare dividend which is higher than the percentage recommended by the board. So something more about interim dividend. All the provisions applicable to final dividend apply to interim dividend also. It may be paid out of the profits of the current year. You may pay it out of the past profits. Ma'am, if you don't have profits in the current year, why are you even paying the interim dividend? See, just to maintain the goodwill and reputation of the business. अभी मेरे पास में profits नहीं है. So suddenly if in one particular year I don't pay dividend, तो people will feel कि अरे company तो डूबने वाली है. Company doesn't have profit. So in this case, we continue to give interim dividend in spite of loss because we want to maintain a good impression or we want to create goodwill of the company. That is the only reason. If I want to classify on the basis of shares, then it will be dividend payable to preference shareholders. It may be cumulative preference shares or non-cumulative preference. Now, preference dividend, they have priority over the dividend given to the equity shareholders. First, we will pay dividend to the preference shareholders and then we will pay dividend to the equity shareholders. Yeah, generally, preference shares are cumulative in nature. You need not pay dividend if you have loss or there is insufficient profit. The dividend will accumulate and it will be paid along with the dividend of the next year. Now, before you pay dividend to the equity shareholders, we will first clear off the cumulative dividend and then whatever is left, we will give to the equity shareholders. Non-cumulative preference shares, dividend does not accumulate, it lapses. This is something which you are already aware of. Acha, dividend on equity depends on the dividend policy of the company and the availability of profit after satisfying the preference shareholders. So equity shareholders, they will get dividend after it is given to the preference shareholders. Okay. Now, let us discuss Section 123. I don't think a question will be asked on what are the types of dividend. That is just for our understanding. Let us discuss Section 123, which talks about the source of dividend. Now that you have to declare dividend, paisa kidhar se aayega? From where will you get money? So what is dividend? It is nothing but distribution of profit. तो profit ही देंगे ना? कौन सा profit? सबसे पहले तो current year profit. So it is to be paid out of the current year's profit after depreciation. Now, why depreciation is to be considered, that we will discuss very shortly. It's a very interesting logic, very interesting fact. Now, we will utilize the current year's profit after calculating depreciation. अरे but I don't have sufficient profits in the current year, or maybe there is loss. You can also declare dividend out of profits for any previous financial years, but my only requirement is that you should provide for depreciation. I can use both. Okay, I can also use both. So the first option is that I use the current year's profit. The second option is that I use profits of the previous years. And the third option is I can use both. Okay, now dividend can also be declared out of the money received by central state government in pursuance of any guarantee given by that government. So now the government is giving guarantee to the company on behalf of the company that declare dividend, don't worry, I will fund it. Okay, so the government is giving some money to the company. Let's say for example that we know that a company is in the airline business. Okay, company is in the airline business. The company, if it doesn't give dividend, people will stop believing in the airline sector, the share prices will fall, the industry will suffer. So government is providing some money so that the company gives dividend just to maintain a positive sentiment in the market. Okay, so money provided by central or state government that can be utilized. Now, why depreciation? Okay, why is depreciation to be deducted? Now, let's say, for example, that this is my profit and loss account. This is my profit and loss. And I'll just erase this. This is the balance sheet. Okay. Now, depreciation is an expense. It is a charge against profit. And your balance sheet may you write asset. Okay, this is my asset. And we reduce the value of asset due to wear and tear. Okay, because we are using the asset every year, there is a lot of wear and tear. So we reduce the value of asset to show at the current price that we will get if the asset is sold. Okay, so that is the book value. Now, what if I decide that I don't want to charge depreciation in the profit and loss account? मुझे नहीं करना है ये, और मुझे मेरे asset को उसके current value पे नहीं दिखाना है. I want to show it at the price at which I purchased. I don't want to provide for depreciation. What will happen in this case? I am overstating my profit and I am also not showing the current value of the asset. What if the company goes into winding up? If I don't show wear and tear, if I don't reduce the value of asset, let's say this is continuing at the price at which I have purchased. Let's say it is showing as 5 crore rupees, the asset which I purchased, building I purchased for 5 crore rupees. Now there is wear and tear. I have not recorded depreciation. So asset is showing 5 crore. It is giving an impression that company has sufficient money to pay the capital. Okay, that is what we are showing, that you have sufficient money to pay the capital. But is that so? No. Because when we actually go to sell that company at the time of winding up, will we get 5 crores or will we get less than 5 crores? Less than 5 crores. Yes. So we will get something less than 5 crores. Let's say that you got only rupees 1 crore. Okay. We got only 1 crore rupees. Now, is this sufficient to pay my capital? It is not sufficient. So what is happening in this case? You have not charged depreciation in the profit and loss account. You are showing as if you have profit, but you don't have. You have overstated your profit. Okay, you have overstated your profit. Now, over here, your value after selling the asset is only 1 crore rupees. इसका मतलब है कि अब तक जो आपने डिविडेंड डिक्लेयर किया है, it is out of the capital. That is what we are trying to show. You have not provided for depreciation. You have not you have failed to retain the amount of wear and tear. So it is as if the company has declared dividend out of profit. क्योंकि आपने तो depreciation इधर लिखा ही नहीं, profit ज़्यादा था. Okay, you have shown more profit. More profit मतलब आपने ज़्यादा dividend दिया है. तो it is as if कि आपने वो asset का जो value है वही आप देते गए ना as dividend. इसीलिए तो आज asset का value 1 crore rupees रह गया है. So that is why law says that if you are planning to declare a dividend, it can be only out of profits जिसमें से आपने depreciation charge किया है. Okay, I'll just repeat it. At the time of winding up, the assets will not show sufficient balance to pay off the capital. Only a small amount will be left. वो तो expenses pay करने के लिए भी लायक नहीं होगा. You have failed to retain the amount of wear and tear of the asset. So it is as if कि ये जो asset का value था, this instead of keeping it aside for buying a new asset, आपने उसको आपने वो वही value पे दिया. It is as if now you are paying dividend out of the profit, out of capital. That is why we have to provide for depreciation. ठीक है? So that was the logic of providing for depreciation. And yes, dividend can be declared only out of free profits. You cannot declare dividend out of capital. That is one requirement of the act. Dividend cannot be declared out of capital. Transfer to reserve. ये तो optional है. ये company पे depend करता है. It is dependent on the company. Now, the company has decided to transfer 20% of the profit to reserve. कर सकते हो. अच्छा, I don't want to transfer anything to reserve. आपकी मर्जी है. It is not compulsory that you have to transfer something to the reserve. Depositing the amount of dividend. Okay. I have declared dividend. Later, we are going to study that the amount of dividend. Something is wrong. Yeah. Later, we will study that whatever is the amount of dividend, it is declared and it is to be paid, or I'll use the word deposited. It is to be deposited in a separate bank account opened with a scheduled bank within 5 days from declaration of dividend. So जैसे ही आपने dividend declare किया, उसके 5 days के अंदर you have to deposit that in a separate bank account. I have prepared a timeline also for you. So as soon as we declare dividend, within 5 days, you will deposit that amount in a separate bank account. ठीक है? So within 5 days from the date of declaration of dividend, we will deposit that amount in a separate account. These are rules which you need to follow when you declare dividend out of reserves. अच्छा, अब देखो मेरी बात सुनो. There are two options. A company can pay dividend out of the current year's profit, but I don't have profits. तो मैं क्या करूंगी? If I don't have profits, ये नहीं है मेरे पास में. So I also have the option to utilize the past profits. I can utilize the reserves. Ab. Let's say, for example, that you got 10,000 rupees as Diwali gift. Okay, your father gave you 10,000 rupees. Mother will come from behind and she will say, hey, don't spend the entire amount of money here. Keep something aside for emergency. That is what our parents have taught us, never to spend the entire money. We are advised to keep something aside. Okay, so let's say, okay, I'll 2,000 seems very less. I'll keep 6,000 rupees. 4,000 I spent there and there. I had already planned मैं किधर खर्चा करने वाली हूँ. तो मैंने 6,000 rupees side में रख दिया reserve. Now mom had only suggested. She can't force me. I can spend the entire 10,000. Okay, so I kept something as reserve. Even the company is not forced. तुमको जब चाहिए जितना चाहिए तब reserve में रखो. It is not compulsory. So out of 10,000, I kept something in the reserve. Now reserve is always created with the intention of using it for emergencies. Now instead of using your current year's profit, you are using your reserves which we had created for emergency. तो लॉ बोलता है भाई तुमको अगर मैंने परमिशन दे दी ना तो तुम तो पूरा का पूरा प्रॉफिट और रिजर्व यूज कर लोगे. वी कांट अलाउ दैट. तो इसीलिए वी से that if you're declaring dividend out of reserves, then there are certain limitations, there are certain restrictions which you need to follow. If you are using the current year's profit, हमको कोई objection नहीं है, तुम पूरा का पूरा profit भी दे दोगे तो कोई problem नहीं है. You can give the entire profit. But if you're using reserves, which is generally for emergency, for some specific purpose, then in that case, if you're using it for, if you're declaring dividend out of reserves, these are the restrictions. Now, what are the restrictions? The rate of dividend should be less than or equal to the average rate of dividend declared during the last 3 preceding financial years. So अगर आप dividend declare कर रहे हो out of reserves, it should not exceed average of the last of the dividend declared during the immediately preceding 3 financial years. अच्छा, what if I have not declared any dividend in those last 3 years? Then this provision will not apply. But if I have declared dividend in, let's say, 2 years, but I have not declared dividend in 3rd year. Okay, so then year 1 plus year 2 plus 0 divided by 3. But I have not declared dividend in each of the year. Then nothing will be, you can't calculate average. Therefore, this condition will not apply in that case. Okay. The second condition which I need to follow is that the total amount which can be withdrawn from the accumulated profit should be less than or equal to 10% of the paid up share capital and free reserves as per the latest audited financial statement. So let's say I have 100 rupees in my reserve. What I can withdraw, okay, what I can withdraw is either less than or equal to 10% of my paid up share capital and reserve. This is the maximum that I can withdraw from the reserves. And also law says that whatever amount that you are withdrawing, it should first be utilized to pay off your accumulated losses and to make provision for dividend. Okay. So whatever depreciation, whatever you are withdrawing should be first utilized to set off your accumulated losses, because anyways that is something which is going to reduce your profit in the future. So amount which is drawn should be first utilized to set off the losses incurred in the financial year in which the dividend is declared. Now, again, relating it to what we just discussed, your father has given you 10,000 rupees. You have kept aside 6,000 rupees as reserves. Okay, this you have kept aside. Now, you spent 4,000 rupees. Okay, this is vanished. Now you have left with 6,000 rupees as reserve. From this reserve, you are now planning to further spend some money. You had kept this aside for emergency, but now you are planning to spend that money. So you will first, let's say you had taken loan from your friend because you were, maybe, you had some emergency and you forgot that some money is kept aside. You had taken loan. So whenever you withdraw something from your reserve fund, you will first pay off your existing liabilities. No, so this is like my loss. So I will first pay off the loan. I had to pay something to my friend. I will first pay all that. Then whatever is remaining, let's say 4,000 is remaining, that I will use for myself. So similar logic applies to the company also, that if you're withdrawing something, first fulfill your existing liabilities, your accumulated losses, then you can use for dividend. Whatever amount remains as balance. Okay, just erase. Whatever amount is remaining as balance, that should be at least 15% of the paid up share capital as per the latest audited financial statement. So the balance should be 15%. Ma'am, what if the balance is not coming 15%? Then I will have to reduce the amount that I can withdraw. So after withdrawing, the balance should be at least 15% of what? Of the paid up share capital as per the latest audited balance sheet. Company cannot declare dividend unless the carryover losses, depreciation has not been provided, what depreciation which was not provided for, that is set off against the losses of the company, against the profit of the company. So those provisions remain the same. Just to summarize this, what are the 3 requirements? The first requirement is that the rate of dividend that you're declaring should be at less than the average rate of dividend declared during the last 3 preceding financial years. Whatever amount you're withdrawing should be less than 10% of the paid up capital and reserves. Whatever remains, that should be at least 15% of the paid up capital. So these are the 3 requirements. Cumulative hai, all 3 have to be satisfied. अच्छा, I want to declare dividend, तो कैसे पे कर सकते? You can give cash, but आजकल cash कौन देता है ना? You won't go and give cash. It's a public company. It's not possible. So अगर मैं कैश दे सकती हूँ, then I can also provide by check, dividend warrant, एंड आई कैन ऑल्सो गिव बाय इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोड, जैसे नेट बैंकिंग, सीधा मेरे अकाउंट में क्रेडिट हो जाता है. गुड इवनिंग संभव. अच्छा, दिस इज पेएबल टू द रजिस्टर्ड शेयर होल्डर ऑफ द शेयर. रजिस्टर्ड शेयर होल्डर मीन्स अ पर्सन हुज नेम अपीयर्स इन द रजिस्टर ऑफ मेंबर्स. जिसका नाम रजिस्टर में है, डिविडेंड उसको मिलेगा, अदरवाइज नहीं मिलेगा. सो यू शुड एंश्योर दैट योर नेम appears in the register before the company declares dividend. It may be paid to his order or banker. Order means it can be paid to an authorized person. The person who receives money is known as a significant beneficial owner. This is very important for case study based question. Case based question. Okay, this is very important for case-based question. Company cannot declare dividend if it has prohibited in the declaration of, if it defaults in complying with the provisions of section 73, which talks about prohibition on acceptance of deposits from the public. This also talks about acceptance of deposits from members only. See, I cannot accept deposits from the public. तो मेरे पास क्या ऑप्शन रह जाता है? Members. So in this case, if I have not complied with the provisions of section 73 in declaration of section 73 in acceptance of deposits from the member, तो मुझे डिविडेंड डिक्लेयर करने नहीं मिलेगा. अच्छा, सेक्शन 74 टॉक्स अबाउट रीपेमेंट ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स बिफोर द कमेंसमेंट ऑफ द कंपनीज एक्ट. ये तो एक्चुअली काफी रिडंडेंट जैसा ही हो गया है, बिकॉज द टाइम लिमिट इज ओवर. लेकिन अगर आपने अभी भी नहीं किया है, हैवी पेनल्टीज हैं उसके लिए, बट अभी भी अगर नहीं करते, सो वी विल नॉट अलाउ यू टू डिक्लेयर डिविडेंड. So section 73 and 74 comply करना चाहिए. The logic behind this is that first you fulfill your existing liabilities. Okay? First you fulfill your existing liabilities and उसके बाद आप डिविडेंड दो. See, जो मेरा existing liability है वो छोड़कर I am giving distributing the profit, ऐसे कैसे चलेगा ना? Thank you so much भव्या, thank you. ऑल राइट, दिस टाइमलाइन इज इंपॉर्टेंट क्योंकि पूरा सेक्शन इसी में कवर हो जाता है, यही टाइमलाइन में कवर हो जाता है. अनपेड डिविडेंड अकाउंट सेक्शन 124. ओके, अनपेड डिविडेंड अकाउंट सेक्शन 124. अच्छा, इस पे क्या क्वेश्चंस आएंगे? मुझे नहीं लगता दैट दे विल आस्क यू अ थ्योरी क्वेश्चन, बट इट विल बी मोस्टली सम केस बेस्ड क्वेश्चन ओनली ऑन दिस. Company has declared dividend. Once you declare dividend, it is an obligation of the company. Company will have to pay it. Dividend declare हो चुका है ना, you will have to pay it. So company will have to first deposit that amount in a separate bank account opened with a scheduled bank within 5 days of declaration. The company has to pay this within 30 days of declaration of dividend. तो मैंने dividend declare किया, उसके 30 days में मेरे को pay करना है. लॉ ये नहीं बोलता दैट इट शुड एक्चुअली रीच द अकाउंट ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर. वो सिर्फ इतना बोलता है कि तुमको डिविडेंड वारंट्स तो इशू कर देने हैं 30 डेज में, फिर वो उसको क्लेम करे नहीं करे ये उसकी प्रॉब्लम है. अच्छा, तो आई हैव टू पे डिविडेंड विद इन 30 days फ्रॉम डिक्लेरेशन. इफ द डिविडेंड इज नॉट पेड, मैंने पे नहीं किया, या फिर मैंने तो डिविडेंड वारंट्स इशू कर दिए थे, सामने वाले ने क्लेम ही नहीं किए, देन विद इन द नेक्स्ट 7 days, मतलब 30 days तक तो मैं वेट ही कर रही हूं. आफ्टर दैट 30 days आर ओवर, द डिविडेंड इज नॉट पेड और इट इज नॉट क्लेम्ड, देन विद इन द नेक्स्ट 7 days आई विल ट्रांसफर दैट अनपेड डिविडेंड और अनक्लेम्ड डिविडेंड in a separate bank account opened with a scheduled bank called the unpaid dividend account. अगर आपने ट्रांसफर नहीं किया, then you will have to transfer it along with interest at the rate of 12% per annum from the, and this interest will be calculated from the date of default. Whatever interest is calculated, that is ultimately going to be used for the benefit of the member. मतलब जब member को आप dividend दोगे, तो उसको dividend के साथ साथ ये जो interest है ना, ये भी member को ही जाने वाला है. Okay, so it is available to the benefit of the member. जितना भी unpaid amount है, उसको नहीं दिया है हमने, we will give him the unpaid dividend along with the interest. Okay, let's do it once again. Company declared dividend. Within 5 days, it will have to transfer that dividend to a separate bank account. क्यों separately? Because once it is declared, it becomes an obligation of the company. Company को payment करनी पड़ेगी. I want to keep some money aside so that I have sufficient funds to pay the dividend within those next 30 days. Then declaration के 30 days के अंदर I will have to pay the dividend. I only have to issue the dividend warrants if I am giving through warrants. वो claim करे नहीं करे वो shareholder के headache है. If the dividend is not paid, it is not claimed within those 30 days, then जो भी unpaid amount रह गया है, that I will transfer to the unpaid dividend account within the next 7 days. And if I delay, then I will have to transfer it along with interest at the rate of 12% per annum. And this interest will be calculated on whatever amount that you have not transferred. Okay. उस amount पे I will calculate interest from the date of default. जब से default हुआ है तब से. अच्छा, this is again a compliance requirement. Within 90 days, 90 days कहाँ से calculate होंगे? Deposit करने के, okay, मैंने deposit कर दिया within the next 7 days. Deposit करने के 90 days के अंदर I will also publish a statement to be put on the website of the company as well as on the website approved by the government for this purpose. उसमें क्या लिखा रहेगा? That see, this is a list of the names of people to whom I could not give dividend. It may be because they have not provided us with the correct details. Maybe the bank account is not correct. Due to some reason, we could not pay this amount. This is their name. This is their last known address. Why are we writing the last known address? ऐसा हो सकता है ना, we gave the warrants, but they did not receive it because they changed the address and that was not updated with the company. So this is the last known address. Shareholder, just check whether you have given the correct address ना, because we have dispatched the warrant. तुमने claim नहीं किया, अभी पता नहीं क्या reason हो सकता है. Unpaid dividend का amount कितना है? These details will be published on the website as well as on the website which is approved by the central government. अच्छा, in ये जो amount है, it will remain in the unpaid dividend account for 7 years. 7 years तक वो unpaid dividend account उधर ही रहने वाला है. After 7 years, we will ultimately then finally transfer it to unpaid या फिर we will transfer that unpaid or unclaimed dividend to Investor Education and Protection Fund, IEPF. And इसी के साथ साथ we will also transfer the shares. ठीक है, तो IEPF में ये अनपेड और अनक्लेम्ड डिविडेंड इंटरेस्ट तो जाएगा, साथ में शेयर्स भी चले जाएंगे. अरे यार, शेयर्स भी चले गए, अभी क्या करें? नथिंग टू वरी. इफ यू शो सम प्रूफ कि भाई आई एम द ओनर, यू विल गेट बैक योर शेयर्स. शेयर्स IEPF में चले गए डजंट मीन कि भाई वो अभी चले गए, वो कंपनी के हो गए, या वो फंड में चले गए तो मुझे कभी मिलेंगे ही नहीं. ऐसा नहीं है. Those shares are transferred because we are not able to find the dividend holder. भाई तू dividend claim नहीं कर रहा है, 7 साल हो गए, तू पता नहीं कहाँ पर है, तो shares will also be transferred. But it is clarified that in those 7 years, अगर तुमने एक dividend भी claim कर लिया ना, तो वो shares हम transfer नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है? So it is clarified that even if you claim the dividend for any 1 year during those 7 years, then the shares will not be transferred. अच्छा, शेयर्स ट्रांसफर हो गए, तुमको अगर वो वापस भी लेना है तो सिर्फ एक प्रूफ दिखा के ले लो. यू नीड नॉट गिव एनी मनी टू द कंपनी और एनी ब्रोकर, कुछ भी जरूरत नहीं है आपको उसके लिए. दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर थ्योरी, दैट इज इन्वेस्टर एजुकेशन एंड प्रोटेक्शन फंड, सेक्शन 125. सेक्शन नंबर 125. मैंने यहां पर बताया था आपको कि वो अनपेड डिविडेंड का जो अमाउंट है प्लस इंटरेस्ट है, वो 7 years के बाद IEPF में जाएगा. नाउ व्हाट विल बी क्रेडिटेड टू IEPF एंड व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ IEPF? बट बिफोर दैट लेट अस गो थ्रू द कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ IEPF की मतलब ये बनता कैसा है, कि कौन मैनेज करता है. इट इज एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. ओके, दिस इज अ फंड विच इज क्रिएटेड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. इसमें क्या क्रेडिट होता है? द अमाउंट ऑफ अनपेड डिविडेंड, अनक्लेम्ड डिविडेंड, उसके ऊपर का इंटरेस्ट, अभी कंपनी ने हमने बहुत सारा पैसा उधर डाल के रखा है, वाई कीप इट आइडल, उसको आगे इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं, वॉट एवर इंटरेस्ट दैट यू गेट, इनकम दैट यू गेट, वो भी क्रेडिट हो जाएगा. So it is credited with specific amount and it has specific use. What is credited I have given over here. How it is to be used वो मैंने यहाँ पर दिया हुआ है. Now it is a fund. There is a lot of money which we credit it with. अभी पैसा है वो मिसयूज तो हो ही सकता है ना. बेटर है कि उसकी ऑडिट करवा दो. Accounts will be audited by the auditor appointed by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. वो appoint करेगा and audit करेंगे and the audited accounts and report will be submitted to the central government. If you want to know about the composition of IEPF, तो हम क्या करते हैं कि इसमें एक अथॉरिटी बनाते हैं. Okay, IEPF में we constitute an authority to manage the fund. It will consist of one chairperson. अगर आपको लिखना है तो आप लिख सकते हो. This authority pen has stopped working. Okay, my stylus has stopped working. Okay, so in this case, authority will consist of one chairperson. It will consist of members not exceeding 7 and one CEO, that is Chief Executing Officer. अच्छा, इसमें क्रेडिट क्या होता है? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट्स ग्रांट्स, कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की ग्रांट्स यहाँ पे क्रेडिट होती हैं. डोनेशंस गिवन बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, any company or any institution. Now, as the name suggests, it is Investor Education and Protection Fund. This fund is created to protect the interest of the shareholders, to create awareness कि जैसे हमने पढ़ा होगा ना, investment in mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully before investing. These are nothing but इंफॉर्मेशन गिवन टू द इन्वेस्टर कि भाई सावधानी से इन्वेस्ट करो. सिमिलरली इक्विटी मार्केट से रिलेटेड जो भी आपको अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करनी है, दैट यू कैन डू थ्रू बाय यूटिलाइजिंग द मनी थ्रू दिस फंड. अभी उसके लिए सबके लिए पैसा चाहिए ना, तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट्स देता है, डोनेशंस मिलती हैं. Unpaid dividend amount is credited over here. The interest which we earn from investments of the fund. Why keep the money idle? पता नहीं ना लोग कब आएंगे लेने के लिए, तो we invested. Any application money which is due for refund. Application money मैंने लिया था, minimum subscription आया ही नहीं. I had to give it for refund. I can't find the person who gave me that money. वो traceable ही नहीं है, तो company cannot keep it with itself. वो इधर रख देंगे. Then mature deposits, debentures, whatever money that I had to repay but I could not repay, वो सारा यहाँ पर credit हो जाएगा. Interest accrued on above. Sale from fractional shares, unpaid dividend, unclaimed redemption proceeds of preference shares for more than 7 years है, तो वो इधर ट्रांसफर कर दो. Shares whose dividend is not paid or unclaimed for more than 7 years. मैंने बताया था ना आपको, along with the dividend, the shares will also be transferred. See, we had written over here. Along with the dividend, the shares will also be transferred to IEPF. But doesn't mean कि वो shares अभी claim नहीं कर सकते. नहीं, आप proof दिखाओ और वो claim ले लो. You can take those shares. Utilization कैसे होगा? अब जो क्रेडिट किया है उसी पर्पस के लिए यूटिलाइजेशन होगा ना. Now I have credited the unpaid dividend, तो कोई क्लेम करने आएगा तो इसी से जाएगा ना. मैच्योर डिपॉजिट्स हैं, लोग आए ही नहीं क्लेम करने, अभी क्लेम करने आए तो इधर से ही लेके जाएंगे ना. मैच्योर डिबेंचर्स है, इधर से ही ले जाओ. सो मैच्योर डिबेंचर्स, डिपॉजिट्स, वो सब देने के लिए काम आएगा. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ डिसगॉज्ड अमाउंट अमंग एप्लीकेंट. डिसगॉज्ड अमाउंट क्या होता है ना, कंपनी के जो ऑफिसर्स हैं उन्होंने कुछ तो हेरा फेरी करके दे अर्नड प्रॉफिट्स थ्रू अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस. अब वो जो कंपनी है उसने वो उनसे प्रॉफिट लेकर इधर रख दिया है, केस हो गया कंपनी पे. अभी कंपनी पे जो केस हुआ है उसमें हमने देखा कि भाई ये जो अफेक्टेड पार्टीज हैं उनको डैमेजेस पे करो, इसमें से ही जाएगा वो पैसा. Distribution of disgorged amount among applicants. So disgorged means that profit which you have earned through unlawful means. Reimbursement of legal expenses in pursuing the case. अरे हम पे डिबेंचर होल्डर्स, प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स ने केस कर दिया, बोलो we had to defend ourselves. तो जो भी खर्चा हुआ है वो इधर से दे सकते अगर कोर्ट अलाउ करता है तो. Then promotion of investors' education and other activities that we conduct, etc. Last, okay, punishment for failure to distribute dividend. अच्छा, distribution of dividend मैंने आपको बताया, it is a statutory obligation of the company. Once the dividend is declared, it has to be paid within 30 days. या फिर वारंट्स तो मुझे डिस्पैच करने ही है, फिर वो वारंट सामने वाला क्लेम करता है कि नहीं करता है, वो उसकी प्रॉब्लम है. नहीं किया मैंने, डिविडेंड इज नॉट पेड, वारंट इज नॉट पोस्टेड विदिन 30 days फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ डिक्लेरेशन, तो क्या करेंगे फिर? अभी लॉ बोलता है दैट एवरी डायरेक्टर हु इज नोइंगली अ पार्टी टू द फ्रॉड, ये आपको बाय हार्ट करना है बिकॉज दिस इज आस्क्ड इन केस बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस. If the dividend is not paid, warrants are not posted, then every director who is knowingly a party to the fraud will be punishable for imprisonment of less than or equal to 2 years and fine of at least 1,000 rupees for each day the default continues. तो उसको तो imprisonment होगी, साथ में fine भी लगेगा. The word is and, दोनों होगा. And the company will have to pay the amount along with simple interest at the rate of 18% per annum. ठीक है, पे तो करना ही है, बट यू विल पे अलॉन्ग विद सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एट द रेट ऑफ 18% per annum. You have to memorize this. अच्छा, these are the certain circumstances where dividend could not be paid without the fault of company. इसमें कंपनी की कोई गलती नहीं है. ठीक है, तो दिस इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज एन ऑफेंस. सेक्शन 127 इस पे अप्लाई नहीं करेगा. डिविडेंड कुड नॉट बी पेड बाय रीजन ऑफ ऑपरेशन ऑफ लॉ. अच्छा, अब फादर डाइड, 2 सन्स हैं, दोनों बोलते हैं शेयर्स मेरा है, ये बोलते हैं शेयर मेरा है, वो बोलते हैं नहीं मेरा है. देयर इज सम डिस्प्यूट एज फार एज इनहेरिटेंस इज कंसर्न. देयर इज सम डिस्प्यूट एज रिगार्ड्स टू हु इज द बेनिफिशियल ओनर, या फिर हु इज एंटाइटल्ड टू रिसीव डिविडेंड, या वो शेयर्स में कोई डिस्प्यूट चल रहा है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द रीजन ऑफ ऑपरेशन ऑफ लॉ हम नहीं दे सकते. शेयर had given directions to pay the dividend. मैंने बोला था deposit the dividend in my bank account, बट मैंने बैंक अकाउंट नंबर ही गलत लिखा. I forgot to update that I have changed my name, like after marriage I changed my name. मैंने बैंक में अपडेट ही नहीं किया, सॉरी, मैंने बैंक में अपडेट किया, कंपनी को नहीं बताया. So company is depositing dividend, but your name with the company is different and the bank which you have changed, that is different. There is a dispute as to who will receive dividend. Dividend has been lawfully adjusted against any sums due. For example, I had to recover 50,000 rupees as calls in arrears from the shareholder, and I had to pay him 50,000 as dividend. तो उसी में adjust कर दो, don't pay him any dividend. Now we have not paid him dividend, but that is not an offense. Any reason that the company could not pay the dividend, but it is not the fault of the company. तो ये reasons में the company will not be held liable. ठीक है, तो फटाफट we have discussed all the sections of the dividend chapter. There are 2 questions which I have identified for you. 2 questions from my compiler. ये वाला, it's a very very frequently asked question. I want you to tell me what exactly will you write in the answer. ठीक है, मुझे बताओ, आप chat box में लिखो. Read this question. The board of directors of the company The board of directors of the company in its meeting recommended a dividend on its paid up capital, which was later on approved by the shareholders in the annual general meeting. Thereafter, the company at another meeting of the board passed a resolution for diverting that fund to purchase short-term investments, and as a result, the dividend was paid to the shareholders after 45 days. Examine the provisions. I'll hide the answers. नहीं तो आप देख लोगे. Examine whether the act of the directors is proper or not. बोलो, क्या लगता है आपको? So over here, what are the provisions that you will write in the exam? The dividend was paid after 45 days. So we should, yes, pay dividend within 30 days, right? The dividend should be paid within 30 days of declaration. Now what is happening over here? You are paying after 45 days. Section 127 will apply. Yes. So as per section 124, we will first write the provisions. that the amount of dividend once declared, it becomes a liability the company has to pay. If it does not, then within 7 days it will transfer to the unpaid dividend account. So where the dividend has been declared by the company but it has not been paid, it has not been claimed within 7 days, yes, it has violated. Correct, there is a violation. So if it has not paid or it is not claimed, then it has to be transferred to the unpaid dividend account within the next 7 days. And section 127 says that the company as well as the officer will be held liable. Only the director who knows about that default will be liable for imprisonment as well as fine. The company will also be liable to pay it along with interest at the rate of 18% per annum. So in the present case, they have diverted the funds. They have not paid within the next 7 days. So over here, see, they have written the conclusion. Every director of the company, if he is aware, he will have to pay it along with, he will be liable for imprisonment, which may extend to 2 years, and fine for 1,000 rupees each for each day of default, and the company will be liable to pay the amount along with interest at the rate of 18% per annum. Okay, then I have also identified one more question for you. This one. Yes, this is also one very frequently asked question in the exam. Mrs. Sheila Bhatt, the holder of 250 shares, had mandated the company to directly deposit the amount in her bank account, and the company accordingly remitted the amount. But the bank returned the payment on the ground that there was a difference in the name and surname. The company did not inform Sheila about this discrepancy. Bolo, what is the requirement? Communication hona chahiye. See over here. There should be communication. If you have not paid, you have not followed the directions, you could not in fact, so communicate karo na. Here they have not communicated. Has the company violated the provisions? Is there a violation? There is a violation. Yes, there is. Company did not inform her, no? So failure to declare dividend, failure to distribute dividend when he had given specific instructions, that is a violation. You have not complied with the provisions. Okay. Section 127 will apply. What about the second situation? The dividend was not paid to the successor of late Mr. Mohan in view of the court's restraining order of the payment due to family dispute about succession. Is it the fault of the company? Is it the company's fault कि वो pay नहीं कर सके? Is it the company's fault? No, company की fault नहीं है ये. If they could not pay it because of some family dispute about succession, that's not the company's fault. No? So here there is no violation. No, there is no violation. So dividend could not be paid because there was a dispute regarding succession. That's not a violation. It's an exception, yes. So here what is important for me is writing the section number. Section 127. Okay. Chalo. So students, with this we come to an end of today's session. Now tomorrow we won't be having a lecture. We will meet directly on Thursday and we will discuss accounts of company. Okay. I'm not taking a session for audit and auditors because you've already studied that na, in audit. So next will be my last session and we will do it on Thursday. Accounts of company. Okay. Bye bye guys. Good night. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Please give a thumbs up before leaving. It was an easy chapter today. You knew most of the provisions. So I'll see you now on Thursday. Okay. Have a good night guys. Study well and stay motivated, stay positive. Don't waste time. Okay. Chalo. I'll see you.